Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. No cup of tea. I haven't got a drink with me, actually. I even forgot my water, but it's over there. I'll get it in a minute if I need it. Okay, do you like my hat? This hat, I love this hat because it keeps my head warm. Also, it means you don't have to do your hair. So when it's cold and I'm feeling a bit lazy with my hair, I just stick this hat on when I take the dogs out for a walk. Got my Christmas jumper on. Not that, unfortunately, this video that I'm doing now is very serious. But it is coming up to Christmas, and that is that and events that we've been looking at have prompted me to do this video because, as you know, as I've been saying in all the advent calendar videos that I've been doing, not everyone is looking forward to Christmas, and Christmas can bring things home to people. You know, if people have been struggling mentally in one way or another through the year, and then Christmas can bring things to a head. A lot of crimes happen at Christmas, murders, family murders, because I think it's the stress of the whole situation of it coming up to Christmas, and and then people are together more, aren't they, maybe over Christmas. So there's quite often crimes at Christmas, and as we've seen over the last week, there are self-deletions at Christmas as well, and there's been a couple, haven't there, lately that well, we shouldn't jump to conclusions, but of course we've had the case of Gayla Lord, and then recently again, just straight after that, we had Julian Debono, another person who went missing, and well, a body has been found in the river, which they're presuming is Julian, but again, it hasn't been confirmed yet, I don't think. So you just think, well, what would prompt? Because in Gayla's case, the autopsy apparently has established no foul play. Anyway, let's have a little. So this is why I'm doing this video, because I wanted to see, do rates go up at Christmas of self-deletion, or is it now, from what I've read so far about it, they don't, but January quite often they do, sort of after Christmas. But anyway, let's just look, first of all, let's look briefly at the background to what I'm talking about. So we want to look at what happened to Gayla Lord. Now, we've been following the Gayla Lord case, of course, and this is LBC, and this is that I'm reporting from LBC today. So no indications of any third-party involvement found on the body during the search for the missing woman. So this is what they've said so far after the post-mortem. A post-mortem examination of a body found in the search for missing woman Gayla Lord has found no indications of any third-party involvement, Norfolk police said. The death was not being treated as suspicious. So Chief Superintendent Dave Buckley, Norfolk's County Policing Commander, said the post-mortem examination has found no signs that any other parties were involved. Although our searches have concluded, officers are continuing to work to establish the full circumstances surrounding Gayla's disappearance. We will pursue all lines of inquiry to understand why she went missing. Our thoughts remain with Gayla's family at this incredibly difficult time. Now, they said that it's strange, isn't it? They seem to have already done the post-mortem, but they haven't actually identified her yet, formally identified her. Strange. So Norfolk police said formal identification of a body found during the search for missing woman Gayla Lord will take place on Sunday, which is today, but they've already released that the death is not being treated as suspicious. Anyway, So police searching for Miss Lord 55 announced they'd found the body of a woman in River Wensum in Norwich on Friday. She had been missing since Friday, December the 8th, having not come back home from work that afternoon. Her disappearance prompted a huge search as detectives traced her movements through the city. The body that officers found in the river is yet to be formally identified, but Miss Lord's family is being supported by specialist officers. A family friend told The Times Gayna's husband Clive is totally lost. He doesn't understand at all what happened. Now, they have said, the police, that they had some indications is what they say, of why she left work early, because she left work early that day, of course. So Chief Superintendent Dave Buckley has confirmed she did not meet anyone on the way to the park after previous speculation she may have met a mystery person at Norwich Cathedral. So on Friday, he said, we remain open-minded to the circumstances of Gayna's disappearance and we will continue to pursue all lines of inquiry. And he says, I'm keen to say this remains a missing person inquiry. I'm also satisfied at the moment, based on the evidence we have, that Gayna did not meet anybody on the way to the park. And we now have a better understanding of her movements through the city centre. We will now need to complete a post-mortem examination to establish a means of death, but I would reiterate at this stage there is no evidence. He keeps saying there's no evidence of third-party involvement. So police divers were seen removing a black bag from the river on Friday, and that would have been poor Gayna. And there's this sort of strange thing, isn't it, that her clothes were found in the park. I don't know if they were by the side of the river or if they were scattered around the park, but her coat was found in the river. And, we were saying about strange for her to go into the river naked. But maybe she had the coat on as she went in. Anyway, they'll have to establish all this. Anyway, so we have to remember, let's just have another look at this CCTV. I mean, what was going through her mind then? It's that's it. Trouble is, you never know what's going through someone's mind. That was the last CCTV that we've been shown of her. Whether the police have more CCTV, we don't know. So on Friday, a police dive team working on the search were seen checking a specific part of the River Wensum with an orange buoy placed to mark the spot. So yeah, they placed a buoy to mark the spot where they'd obviously found something on the sonar. Well done, the police. The sonar police found her. They didn't need any other extra help. And, in fact, I think I'll read something to you later that the police said about why they didn't allow Peter Faulding to dive. And I'm really surprised. I still cannot get over Peter's behaviour, the way he's released all that information just before Christmas. How horrible that will have been for the family. Just imagine what they're going through anyway, facing their first Christmas without Nicola. And now they've got to, contend with all that roaming around their head, that she was possibly seen, but left there for 2 weeks. There's no way the police left her there deliberately. I will not accept that at all. And I think it just comes down to a case of Mr. Faulding trying to prove his reputation, at the expense of everybody else. But I'm going to read you an article in a bit, which might explain a little bit as well. So anyway, the search areas moved from Thursday. The buoy was placed around 100 metres downstream from where they'd worked previously. Police divers with flippers could be seen ready to enter the water in a park area further along the river. But after a phone call was received, their kit was packed up and they got back in their truck. Not sure what that means, really. So anyway, they did find the body. They removed the body. It hasn't been formally identified as Gayla yet, but apparently they're going to do that today. They're saying there's no signs of third-party involvement. So, yeah, maybe more to come out on this. We will see. And then straight after that, really, or at the same time that we were sort of looking at that case, following that case, we then had this case come up. Let me just share this. It's also sad. It just seems sadder coming up to Christmas, of course. For the family, it definitely is. So this man, Julian Debono, who was 63 years old, here he is. He was last seen in Ipswich at 1:45 a.m. following a work event. He was at a work party, I suppose, some sort of work Christmas party. So this was last Sunday. He was last seen. And they have now, this was his last CCTV. He was near the River Gipping. Also, I do think that, when you get a high profile case like Nicola Bulleys, and then, of course, it's been all about Gayla Lord, etc. Does this give people ideas? I think it feels at the moment like we seem to be seeing all these cases about rivers. Now, there's two ways of looking at that. Either we just never noticed before. Maybe there were lots of cases before as well, but we just didn't notice so much because now we notice because of Nicola Bulleys, the high profile case of Nicola Bulleys. Or is it, are people who are thinking of deleting themselves or thinking of doing something to themselves, thinking, oh, maybe this is a way to do it? I don't know. All I know is avoid rivers, stay well away from rivers is what I'd say. But, because whether it's foul play or whether it's self-deletion, just stay away from rivers seems to be a good idea. Anyway, so a CCTV image has been released of a man who disappeared following a night out as specialist divers are brought in to help with the search. Gosh, these specialist divers, you can't, they never get a chance to relax, do they? Julian Debono, 63, was last seen on Yarmouth Road, Ipswich, at 1:45 on Sunday, heading towards London Road. And Suffolk Lowland Search and Rescue, SALSA, has used kayaks to search the River Gipping in the town this week. And Chief Inspector Richard Burton said, we want to give the water as much attention as possible. So I presume this was the same night, he seems to have a different shirt on there. This must be a different. Anyway, Mr. Debono from Ipswich is about 6'1" tall and of slim build. He has a receding hairline with a trim. That's not very nice, is it? With a trimmed grey and black beard, wearing a white, partially see-through shirt with red trousers and high shine black shoes. So he's got ready with some care to go out. He went to a work event on Saturday evening before heading back to Ipswich town centre to continue his night. CCTV footage and eyewitnesses put him on Yarmouth Road shortly before 2 a.m, but Suffolk Police has reappealed for CCTV and dashcam footage from the area. So this is the River Gipping. Chief Inspector Burton said, we've carried out a number of searches in the area led by specialist officers, including the shops and car parks. We've carried out house-to-house inquiries, as well as digital and financial inquiries. He added it was out of character for Mr. Debono, who has not been missing before. Drones have been used as part of the search, and specialist divers are expected to enter the river on Saturday. That was yesterday, and they have found a body. We can't rule anything out. Mr. Debono's family has appealed on Facebook for anyone with information to get in touch. Right, let's see if I can find the article that says a body has been found. Dear me. Yep. So this is the BBC website. Bodies found in the river in a search for a missing man. So that's really just what they're confirming. The body was found just after 3 o'clock in the afternoon. They said the body had yet to be formally identified, but his family had been informed, and post-mortem tests will now take place to find the cause of death, which is currently being treated as unexplained. So he was seen at 1:45 heading towards London Road. He'd been at a work event. This is a friend of his, Francine Jones. She said he's a popular, friendly guy. And he was a former, she was the former president of the National Black Police Association. So I'm not sure if he was a policeman at any point, or presumably she was, if she was the president. So a really popular, friendly guy. A lot of people know him around Ipswich. He's always laughing. He's very approachable, and said that they were all very worried. So, we don't know. We don't know. A body has been found. It's not been confirmed to be him, but his family has been informed. So, I think they're probably pretty sure if they've informed the family, I think they would, due for the clothes that he wore in the description, he's not been missing that long. So he will be identifiable, I would imagine. So that is the story so far with these two missing people, recent missing people. Now, before what I want to talk about, really, the purpose that I'm doing this video is I want to give you some information from the Samaritans, because there may be some of you out there, and there may be, or people that are going through these bad times coming up to Christmas. So I want to read you some information from the Samaritans that might be, positive and helpful for people who are going through a bad time. It is a difficult time, Christmas, I know. And I know that from experience. This year will be better, I hope, for me. But and last year was, but I've been through quite a lot of bad years as far as Christmas is concerned. Just when you're going through a bad time, Christmas just intensifies everything, doesn't it? So, you'll be going through a bad time through whatever the circumstances are. And then suddenly Christmas comes and everything's amplified, intensified. But first of all, though, I just want to read you this article because I found it very interesting. This is an article in Lancashire Live about Peter Faulding. So, almost a year after the tragedy, Peter Faulding still claims he found Nicola Bulleys in the River Wyre. I think it's important to remember that these assertions of Peter, it literally was nearly a year before he said any of this. Nearly a year, and he came out with it coincidentally just with the College of Policing review that he knew was going to be scathing towards him. And then I watched his interview. I've watched the question and answer session. I still have that. I may go through it one day. I have the whole question and answer session. We may go through that one day. I haven't decided. Part of me just wants to leave that behind because, I just think if that was my daughter, just imagine how that would be if that was my daughter. And now Christmas is coming up, the first Christmas that those girls haven't got their mother and that parents haven't got their daughter. And then that comes out. I think it's really distasteful. Honestly, I do. I'm really surprised. I cannot even tell you how surprised I am at Mr. Faulding's behaviour. So this was an article on the 16th of December, so yesterday. Peter Faulding has made a series of claims. I'm sick of hearing name, to be honest, accusing police of ignoring him when he said he had found the body in the River Wire. And I'm sorry, if anyone really believes that the police would do that, that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, because they wanted to find her. Of course they wanted to find her, because they wanted to prove that their hypothesis was correct. And for people who say, oh, they didn't want Peter to find her, Peter is a civilian at the end of the day. He's not in the police. He's a civilian. He can't be diving down to find bodies and interfering with forensics. I don't know why people can't see that. I honestly do not understand why people can't see that. He could not. He is a civilian. He might be an expert diver. He might be this, that, or the other. But he is a civilian. He's not police. So nearly a year after she went missing, diving expert Peter Faulding has not backed down on claims he found Nicola Bulleys' body in the River Wire, despite a police report rubbishing his claims. Private underwater search and rescue firm Specialist Group International were invited to assist police after 45-year-old Nicola went missing. She was last seen on the banks of the River Wire in St. Michael's-on-Wye on January the 27th this year. Despite extensive underwater searches, her body was discovered in the water by walkers around a mile from where she had disappeared 23 days later. So an inquest earlier this year concluded she had drowned, having accidentally fallen into the river. A subsequent review by the College of Policing criticised Lancashire Police for its handling of the investigation into her disappearance, and also highlighted several inaccurate claims made by SGI boss Peter Faulding. Now, Peter did his interview about finding Nicola before this report came out. So he was pre-warned of this. That was the whole purpose of it. And he released it on the day that this came out. The whole purpose of that interview was to mitigate the allegations against him that he'd been an absolute pain during the whole investigation. You know, to me, it's obvious. This week, Faulding took to social media to reiterate claims he discovered Nicola's body on February the 7th. Now, notice the question and answer session has disappeared because it didn't show him in a good light, did it? Well, to me, it didn't anyway. You know, for various reasons, he was totally unprofessional. He just talked about himself all the time. He's got no thoughts for Nicola's family. He's never had any thoughts for Nicola's family. He keeps saying, oh, respect to the family, but he sent those images to a psychic friend of his, who then did a live on Facebook, which has also disappeared now. Question and answer has disappeared now. Apparently showed those images to the YouTuber as well. Where's the respect for the family? Why did he not take them to a professional person? You know, it's ridiculous them saying that it's all out of respect to the family. So he alleges a sonar search picked up the missing mum's body. You know, and we've all seen the videos of him saying this categorically, she wasn't in the river. He'd reviewed the data, you know, so it is, I'm sorry, but it is. The more I think about it, hear about it, the more horrible on Peter's part it seems to me. So a police team told him the target was nothing. Yeah, because they did dive down and check it. If you really, really believe that they did not check when he told them there was a possibility, I'm sorry, I can't accept that. Individuals involved in the search for Nicola Bulleys and an investigation into her death told Lancs Live the claims are incorrect. Mr. Faulding frustrated the search on many levels. They had seen the sonar image and disputed his assertion that it clearly shows Nicola's body. Now, if at the time he thought it clearly showed Nicola's body, then why did he just go around for the next few months saying she was categorically not in the river. And also, when people say about him he did not send those images to the coroner until November. He did not send them before the inquest, and he still hasn't come forward with any recorded delivery, to be honest, though they are accepting that he did send them to the coroner in the end. Coroner, you know, whatever you think of the coroner, he probably thought, why are you sending this to me now when the inquest that was in June? One told Lancs Live, Peter Faulding frustrated the search on so many levels. He constantly made the police question their ability. The difficulty is that when an investigation is ongoing, we can't comment. So when he kept doing that, it was incredibly frustrating. The glare of the media was well and truly on us. So on us all. So we had to do everything properly. And that's it. The police can't comment. He's a private person. So he was going around commenting left, right and centre. He's saying now that nobody stopped him commenting on that. But if he's such an expert who's been doing this for years, surely he knew not to comment. Where's his discretion? Where's his professionality? They added, the fact is that the way he behaved during and after the investigation led to him losing his status as a preferred partner for police forces. And then when Gayla Lord went missing, he offered his help. But obviously the police were, Peter, that boat has sailed, that ship has sailed, if you'll pardon the expression. The police are never going to ask for your help again or allow your help. So, you know, and I completely understand it, to be honest. Mr. Faulding's company became involved in the investigation after he arrived in Lancashire and offered his services. Well, of course, that's not true because he was phoned by the family. And apparently, according to the College of Policing report, the family contacted Peter Faulding because they saw him on the news the night before. There seems to be some sort of, not sure if it was Paul or if it was Emma, who was not even family really, but who contacted him initially. But apparently the police did not want him there. But the family, again, whoever the family is, insisted on him being there and said that they would, if they didn't allow him there, they would give a negative press conference. So the police allowed him to be there, and they must regret that so much that they ever allowed him to be there. So a report into the investigation published last month by the College of Policing addressed his claims made regarding February the 7th. The review states, while it is recognised that Lancashire Constabulary did not request the services of SGI and Mr. Faulding and that he was not deployed by the NCA, a decision was made to use the services of a commercial dive company and manage the risk. God, they must regret that decision so much. Lancashire Constabulary felt it was placed in an unenviable situation, which would lead to a widespread negative perception that the force were not using every opportunity to locate Nicola. So they were sort of damned if they did and damned if they didn't, really. During the search for Nicola, Mr. Faulding provided the press with conflicting statements, including one insisting that Nicola was not in the river. Now, you know, when you think about it, he should not have said that because he did not know she was not in the river. He knew she was, well, now he's saying that she was in the river, but he did not know, even though he had not found her, or now he's saying he did. But let's go back to what he was saying at the time. Do you see how ludicrous the whole thing is? If we just imagine that he's gone up and down that bit of river he was tasked to search, and then he didn't find her, that doesn't mean say she's not in the river completely. I just, you know, when you look at it from a different point of view, it's like you've been looking at it one way all this time, because really Peter Faulding telling us how brilliant he is and how specialised he is and now he's this and now he's that and how he's the other. once you start looking at it from the other side, and I know it's not popular with a lot of my viewers, a lot of you will be out there going, oh no, Peter Faulding is like, brilliant. Well, and that is your opinion, and you are entitled to think like that. Of course you are. But I am also entitled to have my opinion. Because once you start looking at it that way, from the opposite way, that maybe Peter was wrong and the police were right, in some things at least, once you start accepting or believing that maybe Peter did not find Nicola as he originally said, I mean, it's just so ridiculous. And I've started to really dislike Peter. I've gone from sort of trusting him implicitly to sort of when he said about after all this time saying him not being there, now saying she's there. So then I started to think, well, he was either lying before or he's lying now. And now I actually dislike him because everything he's doing is just making it all worse. Instead of just going off quietly, getting his images checked, not sending them to a psychic, not showing them to a YouTuber, not doing a bloody question and answer session. That was really all we learned was he likes a little bit of whiskey in the evening. Why do all that? Why not be professional? Send your images off to professionals. Get an opinion, then come and do your interview on mainstream media, with all due respect to YouTube, not on a small YouTube channel. It was very bizarre, the whole thing, very bizarre. So I have actually come to dislike Peter. So maybe I'll be proved wrong in January when he sends it to whoever he's going to send it to. But he should have had that verified. He should have had those images verified before he even went public about them. During the search for Nicola, Mr. Faulding provided the press with conflicting statements, including one insisting that Nicola was not in the river. More than one. However, in a series of tweets posted this week, Mr. Faulding repeated his accusation that police had ignored him when he claimed to have found Nicola's body and said he intends to send his evidence to the Prime Minister in the new year. So why has he waited a year to send his evidence to the Prime Minister? The review states, the dive team was later contacted by the review team regarding this find and also confirmed a dive had taken place on the 7th of February following the sonar imagery presented by Mr. Faulding in the SGI. The dive team worked from the GPS coordinates provided by them along with a marker that they had placed on the riverbank. This location was close to the bench where Nicola had left her phone and some distance from where she was found. The diver who undertook this dive was able to confirm the dive took place at 13:21 and the find was found to be tree branches underwater and therefore cleared as negative. It is relevant to add that this same area had previously been searched on the 28th and 31st of January using both sonar equipment and dive methods. These had also proved negative. A police diver who carried out the search after Mr. Faulding claimed to have spotted something later said, I am actually 100% sure there was no body in that part of water at that time. It's not very often I dive in such an unobstructed body of water with such a flat bottom and with visibility. So the College of Policing Review states this find was sufficiently investigated by the search team at the time and was established to be a negative finding. This was additionally supported by the expert opinion of the images from 2 independent scientists, which were received during this review. Now, Where's Mr. Faulding's review, opinion from independent scientists? The only opinion Mr. Faulding has had is from his friend who's a psychic who could see everything, could see her bottom, could see her feet, could see her head. Oh my God, you know, we watched that video. I've still got that video, even though that's disappeared now. Everything's disappeared, but I've still got them. And Mr. Faulding has refused to release the sonar image, which he says shows Nicola's body lying in a fetal position on her right side, which he says is out of respect for her family. He has got no respect for her family. If he had respect for her family, he would have kept all this to himself until he actually got it verified by experts, not by psychics, not by YouTubers. He would have kept it all to himself. After being told there was no body at the location, Mr. Faulding said, "This baffled me as I'm never wrong with my sonar readings, but I had to trust the police divers." A second source close to the search told Lancs Live, "There's no way that was a body. It was in a relatively shallow part of water, and the individual police diver who searched it wasn't given the exact location, as you wouldn't want them to have any bias in terms of what and where they're looking." Mr. Faulding also appears to criticise the police for refusing to allow his divers to investigate the sonar image. One police source close to the investigation has this week told Lancs Live, "Of course we can't allow civilians to go wading in at what is potentially a crime scene." Because they didn't know then, did they? I mean, maybe, you know, I said this from the beginning. They don't know if it's a crime scene or not. Can't let him go down there. Now, it's interesting, that choice of language. Potentially a crime scene. Of course, at the inquest, it was shown that it wasn't, but inquest can change. So in his statement after the College of Policing's report was published, Mr. Faulding continued to accuse the police of not being as expert as he is. He said, "I would ask how much practical experience these experts have in using high-frequency sonar for forensic search in locating human remains underwater, and what criteria they use to assess the images and make their conclusions." You know, because in Peter's eyes, nobody is as expert as Peter. The College of Policing's investigation includes an opinion from a lecturer at Cranfield University who stated, "The target cannot be positively identified as a human body based on the data presented." Now, but the psychic could see it immediately, could see feet, head, back, bottom. So how could she see all that? But the lecturer at Cranfield University said it can't be positively. Who's lying? I know who my money's on who's lying. The target cannot be positively identified as a human body based on the data presented. In my opinion, this target would be classed as a low probability of confidence for human remains. So come on, Peter, bring the evidence. Bring us back what the experts in America have told you, or, you know, come on, let's see it. Anyway, the report also found challenges caused by Mr. Faulding's presence included both his communication with Nicola's family and with the public, the latter of which was cited amongst many of the conspiracy theory publications relating to her disappearance. And yeah, I took off a load of my Nicola Bulleys content, which I have now put back up. But because everything I was saying or thinking or doing was based on the fact that Mr. Faulding said she wasn't in the water, because I trusted him, and now he's saying she was. So I'm done with Mr. Faulding, I'm afraid. It stated Lancashire Constabulary also shared concerns with the review that Mr. Faulding had behaved insensitively towards the family at an extraordinarily difficult time. It was assessed by Lancashire Constabulary that he used his conversations with the family to provide quotes to the media, and that he influenced the family into believing that Nicola had not entered the river and a third party was involved. In November, Mr. Faulding then wrote to Lancashire Senior Coroner Dr. James Aidley about his claims to have found Nicola's body. Why did he wait till November? Why did he not send that before the inquest? Why? However, as the inquest has already concluded, there would be no need for an inquest to even consider Mr. Faulding's search for the body or the police's, because a coroner only has to rule how someone came by their death. And that's true as well. It wouldn't have made any difference to the result of the inquest, would it? You know, she's still gone into the river, so she was found earlier, but it still would have been the same inquest result. Lancashire Live contacted SGI this week to ask Mr. Faulding to comment on the two sources disputing his claims. We spoke to company director Natasha Faulding, who's obviously a member of the family, who explained he was abroad. Yeah, because he then went on holiday. After he dropped all that bombshell and that, he went off on holiday. But after listing the sources' comments, we did not receive any further response. Both Lancashire Constabulary and the College of Policing directed us to the report published in November when approached for comment. The Lancashire Police will just want to move on. I mean, I don't know if they're still investigating anything to do with Nicola. I'm always hopeful. But they just want to move on from Peter Faulding. He's just caused so much hassle. Anyway. So I wanted to read that out to you, and, you know, you believe what you have to believe what you like about Peter Faulding, but I've got my opinions. I think I've made them quite clear, and they're not changing. In fact, if anything, day by day, I'm taking even more dim view on Peter Faulding. You know, it's not getting any better, I'm afraid. But anyway, when he gets back off holiday, and in January, you know, when he finally gets around to sending off his sonar pictures to somebody who actually, you know, knows about sonar pictures instead of showing them to all his mates, then maybe we will get a little bit of an answer. Okay, now the final thing that I just wanted to show everyone today, because this is the important thing, the most important thing in my eyes, is if any of you are feeling discombobulated, or whatever that word is, I can never say, discombobulated, please remember there is always someone to talk to. So the Samaritans, you can email them, you can phone them. I don't know, they probably have all sorts of ways you can contact now. I was a Samaritan for 2 years when I lived in the UK, in Reading. It's you know, it's a very necessary, what's the word, a service that is provided. Sometimes people just need someone to talk to, and it's not only people that are on their own. Sometimes people can't talk to their own family. I had all sorts of calls from all sorts of people. They just could not. It's hard to turn around to your loved ones and tell them that you're feeling, you know, like deleting yourself. But you can say things to a stranger. You can be yourself. You can say what you think, because you know you're being anonymous. So it's totally confidential with the UK Samaritans. I would say if you're in Spain, I wouldn't ring the Spanish Samaritans. Probably shouldn't say that, but in my eyes, they're not. The UK Samaritans, in my experience, they're totally non-judgmental. They won't try and, you know, they're not there to give you advice, really. They're just to listen to you. And then normally, as you talk, you come up with your own answers. Anyway, so Samaritans reminds callers we're there for them on the longest night of the year. So Samaritans will mark the longest night of the year to remind those struggling to cope that its helpline is open during their darkest hours this Christmas. So last December, volunteers answered almost 35,000 calls to Samaritans' 24-hour free phone number. It's free as well, and it's 116-123 last December, including 1,120 on Christmas Day alone. The mental health charity is asking landmarks and public buildings across the country to light up in green to mark the longest night on the winter solstice on Wednesday, December the 21st. So this Wednesday is the longest night of the year, to show people Samaritans are here for them during the long dark nights. Up to 100 sites are expected to support the campaign. The Department of Health, the Rock of Cashel, Bunratty Castle, Slane Castle, Kilkenny Castle, Cork City Hall, and County Council offices across the country. I'm just wondering what time it will be, because maybe we could do something live then. Anyway, Nicola Dalton, a volunteer with Galway Samaritans, said it's a privilege to be on the helpline for others on Christmas Day. I love being on the helpline. The demand for the service doesn't change just because of the holidays. People who are struggling on a normal day are still struggling, no matter what day of the week it is, and that's why I do it. Christmas can also bring up a lot of issues for people. We may have the perception everything should be perfect on Christmas Day, and it may not be perfect inside your head. We get callers grateful that you're there, callers whose normal support services are closed, some who are recently bereaved, callers who are very lonely, and other callers who are alone and delighted to be on their own because of family dynamics. So it's a real privilege to go into a branch and sit there and take a call, particularly on Christmas Day, that someone trusts you enough to pick up the phone if they ring. Now, the other thing is that a lot of Samaritans, check out your local Samaritans, because they have walk-in centres as well. So you may everybody's different. Some people prefer to talk on the phone. Some people like to be face-to-face. So find your branch and find out, maybe they do walk-ins. You can actually walk in and sit and talk to people. This surprises me, because we were always, oh God, she's right next to a river. Oh God, I've gone right off rivers. Yeah, we were always anonymous. You were always told you had to be anonymous, but maybe it's changed. So Nicola will be among approximately 300 volunteers in 13 Samaritan branches who will give up their time for others over the Christmas weekend. I urge anyone who's feeling pressure this Christmas to check in on themselves, pick up the phone, ring somebody if they need to talk, whether it's a friend, a family member, or an organisation like Samaritans, on free phone 116-123. Reach out to someone if you're struggling. There's always somebody there, somebody who will listen to you and be there for you. So Samaritans is the only all-island 24-hour emotional support free phone. So, so this is Samaritans Island, is it? Only island? No, I don't think so. Don't think so. Yeah, so solstice on Wednesday. Maybe we'll do something for the solstice as well. Just to like a live maybe or something. Anyway, we'll look at that later on. I just wanted to let you know that. So always remember this: if you need someone to talk to, 24 hours a day, the Samaritans are there to talk to, and they're non-judgmental. And also, my nose has gone red. It's cold. Well, it's 12 degrees now. It's gone up. It was 8 degrees this morning, so it has gone up a little bit. I might even be able to take my hat off soon. Yeah, ring the Samaritans. You can email them as well. I think all the details will be on their website. So yeah, So I was prompted to do this when I heard about the other body being found. You know, it's so sad, these cases of, you know, Julian. Well, we don't know what happened to Julian yet, and it's not actually been confirmed that it's the body yet. As I'm making this video, probably by the time this video goes out, it may have been confirmed that it's him. Yeah, and Gaynor, of course. So it's very sad. If these are self-deletions, that's what prompted me to make this video, because I know it's a difficult time of year for people. It probably brings things to a head for some people. You know, so I just wanted to make this and make people aware, especially of the Samaritans, and that there's always someone there who will listen to you. And sometimes you do, you know, sometimes when you talk about it, it doesn't always change people's minds. When people are determined, they will do it. I mean, at the end of the day, it is a choice that people make. It is a choice. It's a personal choice, but sometimes just talking and thinking a little bit longer can make the difference. Okay, so remember to live and love wisely, carefully. I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, may your God always go with you. Bye.